Okay, guys, let's open the dialogue on this new Luffy. Look at that artwork, bro. It looks like a completely different game. Like, this is so beautiful. Like, I can't describe it in words. This is the alternating ink pen artwork. So, if you have saved your ink pens, you're probably very happy because this is the regular artwork. It's a joke in comparison. Like, you want to use your ink pens on this guy, bro. Like, all these characters are busted in terms of the artworks, and from what I've seen, Emu is busted in terms of the rumble abilities. Let's see about Luffy. I was a bit disappointed in Emu's regular abilities, not in rumble. Hopefully Luffy is a bit better. And as expected, he is DEX, fighter powerhouse. So same classes as the quick gear 5 from last year. First off, let's take a look at his captain. When 6 or more DEX type characters on the crew and the field has territory DEX type. Okay, so that's quite the restriction. Boost DEX type characters attack by approximately 7x flat. Okay, so when we think about Nikabani, that character, the max multiplier you could get is 7.8x, which is higher than this, but that was a lot harder to get. This is just the flat attack boost, 7x. To DEX characters. I do like the whole mono DEX thing. We haven't had a lot of mono type units for a very long time, which is definitely good for the team building side of things because running only one type is very restrictive. But I can really tell you in Super Boss this guy's going to be insane because most of the time you are running 6 DEX types, but a lot of the time you do run one character that isn't the type that maybe provides some other form of damage or utility that is irreplaceable. So 6 exactly, you need all 6 of your characters to be DEX is quite the requirement. It doesn't say what the multiply is if you don't have 6 DEX types and if you don't have a territory for DEX type. But yeah, it's quite hard to get the territory and have 6 DEX units on the crew. But when you have 4 more DEX types on the crew, you get the special limit uses debuff reduced by 10 turns. Now, this is probably one of the weaker utilities in the game because we do have potential abilities to remove this debuff. And in a lot of situations, you can actually just ignore the debuff because it's usually 3 specials max you can use in a turn. But in a lot of cases, you only need to use like 3 specials in a turn. And even if it's a really bad one, as I said, you can just remove it with potential abilities. So not looking too good right now. There's no other info here. We can't see HP multipliers, attack boost without meeting those requirements, and any other niche abilities. But so far, not too impressed by that captain. Now, what about his special? If field has territory DEX type and territory fighter class. Now remember, territories, you can stack up to 3 different territories at once. So you can have a DEX territory, a fighter territory, and a powerhouse territory at the same time if you have the means to provide that. But if you do have those territories, both of them, you need to have both simultaneously. Then you get a DEX type fighter class characters all boost by 8x. So from the looks of it, the character has to be both DEX and fighter. But if they are, they get an 8x orb boost. Easily the highest we've seen in the game. Yeah, this is crazy, man. 8x. And that's not even based on the outcome of the action special. That's to come later on in the special. But that's just 8x flat. You're always going to get that. So DEX type and fighter characters get a 6x orb boost for 3 turns. What? So that 8x attack boost, orb boost, is for 3 turns as well. So if you want to think about how this works, if you've ever used the support of Odin and Roger, the quick Super Sugo unit, that support ability, it gives quick type units and slasher units a 1.5x attack boost on the final stage. That's the support effect. But if a character is both quick and slasher, they get a 1.75x attack boost. So it's still the same effect. It's all in one orb boost. These aren't 2 different orb boosts that are being provided. It's the same orb boost. But if a character is DEX and fighter, it has an 8x effect for that character instead of 6x, which only if a character only has Dex type, for instance, they are a Dex slash a free spirit, or if they are a strength fighter character, they'll only get 6x. But it's still 6x. Not only, like, that's still a massive, one of the best orb boosts in the game. 6x, and it's for 3 turns, so you can carry it over multiple stages. You can use it to block weak orb boosts that the enemy gives you. So yeah, this is crazy. And then ignores all immunities. So when they say immunity to status effects, this means immunity to all status effects, immunity to specific status effects, and immunity excluding certain status effects. All 3 types of immunities are ignored. And then you will inflict the enemy with increased damage taken by 3x for a turn based on the outcome of the action special. I mean, best increased damage taken in the entire game. Remember, your weakened status effect that you inflict the enemy with will become much stronger if the enemy also has the increased damage taken debuff. So this is one of the most important debuffs in the game when it comes to damage. And of course, you can use conditional boosts for increased damage taken to give even more damage. Then, yeah, I mean, that's special. The damage is ridiculous, but at the end of the day, you have to remember you need 2 of those territories. You need both of those territories for the special to work. And from what I'm seeing, he doesn't provide any territory in his kit. Because the X Super, it will change fighters to super fighter and powerhouse to super powerhouse, and can change slots to super Dex. So recently we got a list of updates which included the super type slots. So I'm assuming they'll have the same effect that super type has, which is an extra 1.2x damage. So I'm assuming if a character's Dex and they get these super Dex slots, it'll of course be type advantage for them. So the base 2x from having a matching orb, and then an extra 1.2x from the super effect. Or what this could also mean is that if the character has super type, it will make that orb much stronger. We still don't know the details. I will talk about it when it actually releases in the game. We can do all that fun testing stuff. But for now, the new Super Dex Orb, which I'm pretty sure was stated to not be changeable. Like, the enemy can't change it to block or super block or poison or paralysis orbs. I'm not 100% certain. Don't quote me on that. But either way, very, very cool. The only problem is that's all he's doing. And it's also under certain conditions. So from what I'm seeing, it's not too good. Of course, it's really nice to have 2 super classes, because a character can have 1.2x from one class and then another 1.2x from having the other super class. So it's essentially a 1.44x attack boost just from the super class effect. So that's very good. But from what I'm seeing, the utility is terrible. This unit, pretty much negligible. But I'm assuming that the utility is there. It's just not listed here yet. But the damage side of things, one of the best units in the game. I mean, that increased damage taken and the orb boost is just mind-blowing. And of course, a 7x flat boosting captain effect. And who knows, if a character has a certain tag, this might be increased up to like 8x or 8.5x. So not all the details are here, just to clarify that. But for now, that's insane. Now, what about the Rumble stuff? Will he synergize with the new Powered Rumble Legend Ace? So quickly, before we go through Luffy's Rumble stuff, let's just remind ourselves of what the new Powered Rumble Legend DEX Fighter Powerhouse Ace is doing. Or not Fighter Powerhouse, I mean he's Fighter Free Spirit. But his Rumble stuff is mainly based on Dex and Fighter, which is perfect for Luffy. So first off, he is a 161 defense, 167 speed, which is quite standard. Nothing too crazy. He's a 20 cost unit, which is really good. He is healing in a small range, so that's very good. Here is a special bind and reduces incoming damage from quick enemies by 30%. At level 5, his Rumble passive will give HP up, defense up, and speed up buff to all Dex and Free Spirit crew members. So very good tankiness, increasing our max HP. Increasing defense is essentially damage reduction. It's very powerful. And then speed up is increasing the frequency at which units attack. So very, very good. And then when you have a Luffy, Saba, or Yamato on the crew, so new Luffy, applies level 8 guard and shield up buff to self, Guard is a 50% damage reduction. It starts off at 5% chance of happening from a normal attack. Each level increases it by 5%, so this goes up to a 45% chance of guarding. So he himself, Ace, is going to have a very high chance to guard whenever he receives a normal attack. Shield up buff is essentially an extra health bar. If you've ever used the Capone legend in this game, his fire tank effect, where he turns the entire crew into his giant building. Essentially, that effect is very similar to this. Even if the Capone house effect has like only 1 HP left, it can tank a 100k death hit and then it will disappear. Shield in PvP is very similar to that. So each shield is 500 HP. So level 8 is 4000 HP. So once Ace takes 4000 HP at least, or damage should I say, the shield will leave, but not before tanking a massive hit from the enemy. So shield up is very good. So he's tanking specials, he's tanking normal attacks, and then he's also gonna reduce his own CT by 20% every time he lands a guard. So you want to put him on the front lines, central unit. You want him to take normal attacks, and then he has a 50% chance essentially of getting a 20% CT reduction on himself every time he receives a normal attack. So yeah, very good character in terms of tankiness, how fast he's charging, the buffs he's providing, and then he also gives forced out to a debuff style enemy, a defense style enemy, and a recovery style enemy for 10 seconds. And this is activating very early on. So this is actually a very good counter for Emu, or a potential counter. I'm not saying that this will work. It's a very low chance of it actually working. But since Ace activates so early on, especially since he's a low CT unit himself, he can force out the enemy before they use any of their specials. So I didn't actually say what style Emu is, but I'm pretty sure from what I was seeing, Emu is going to be a debuff style character, which will get the forced out effect, which is really important. This Ace might be the only unit that can counter the new Emu, which is kind of terrifying. Yeah, you should probably pull for this character. But let's first digest all the info. He also gives a 20% HP cut in a large forward range, so pretty good damage there. Only in regular rumble. In assault rumble, of course, HP cuts don't matter. And then 30% CT to a Luffy on the crew. 100% chance to inflict action bind to all enemies for 5 seconds. So if a unit isn't getting forced out, they're getting action binded. Of course, units are quite frequently resistant to action bind, so this isn't too crazy. But giving Luffy 30% CT, that's going to be crazy. So if this new Luffy is a high CT character, this Ace might be a necessity. So let's talk about it. At level 10, yeah, he's 32 CT, which isn't too high, but it's also a decent amount of time it takes to charge. So he's going to target one attack style enemy and one support style enemy. So immediately from what I'm seeing, it's the other two types that Ace does not force out. So Ace will force out the debuff, defense, and recovery style enemies, and then Luffy will completely annihilate the attack style enemy and support style enemy. So they're losing their support, which is most likely all their tankiness. Their main DPS will be completely blown away. Well, not blown away. Will take a lot of damage because this is damage ignoring defense of 2.5x. That is powerful. Wow, yeah, he's perfectly synergizing with the new Ace already. I'm excited. When 4 more Straight Pirates and or 4 Emperors are on the team, targets team for 2.5x his attack as counter stance for 30 seconds. This is very similar to the counter stance in regular treasure cruise, where if an enemy attacks you with a normal attack, it will essentially reflect damage back onto them. And that's going to last for 30 seconds. So I'm wondering, if you combine this with damage over time, how quickly can you kill the enemy with regular attacks alone? And then targets all enemies for 20 times spread damage. I mean, this is the same damage that Nika Bonnie provides, but in addition to that, he's providing damage ignoring defense. So now let's talk about spread damage. So We know that spread damage is based on how many enemies on the field. If there's only 2 enemies on the field, each of them will take 10 times Luffy's attack as damage. Now, remember, Ace is forcing out 3 enemies. So there's only going to be 2 enemies remaining. And if that 2.5x damage ignoring defense isn't enough to kill the attack style and support style enemy, then the spread damage will be massive because 3 of those enemies will be forced out. The spread damage will be 10x on each of those 2 remaining enemies. So even if those 2 remaining enemies aren't attack style or support style, they still get 10x of spread damage. And then if they are the DPS unit, attack style, or providing support, they get an extra 2.5x through defense. That is broken. And the requirement is not bad at all. This is the same requirement that the versus Zoro from Zoro versus Nustro has. So you can run him, run this Luffy, and run the new Ace and get broken damage. I just talked about Emu. With Emu, the 5 Elder team seems invincible. But this new team with Luffy, Ace, and versus Zoro is so nimble and doing such unique things that I think they could also counter. Just because of how early on Ace is allowing everything to start working, it could counter Emu before she activates her special. Wow. And then targets himself for 100% chance of paralysis for 15 seconds. So for 15 seconds, Luffy will not be able to do normal attacks. That's not the end of the world. And then his Rumble ability, when dealing damage, targets Dex type and fighter class teammates for crit percent up of level 1 up to 10 times. Crit, very similar to the guard I was talking about before, is 5% base chance for a 1.5x damage increase for normal attacks. So up to a 50% increase in crit from the passive, so up to 55% crit rate on a unit. That is really good. So whenever he does damage, unfortunately, if he paralyzes himself with his special, he's not going to be doing normal attacks. So it's not going to be activating as frequently as you'd be wanting it to. But I'm really happy that they're starting to develop the crit team. Back in the day when Rumble started, there were teams centralized around crit, but over the years, it just wasn't good enough to focus on crit, and other effects like damage ignoring defense, confusion, all these things have taken priority. But just slightly implementing that crit can create a massive difference. So I'm really happy that we're starting to see the effects in Power Rumble like crit, guard, dot, seeing so much more play. And then when his HP is 1% or below, targets himself for attack up of level 10. And then when he's KO'd, he'll activate his Rumble special 1 time. So of course, when he's KO'd, his HP is 0, which allows him to get the 10 levels of attack up for himself. And then he's doing that massive damage. So, oh my days, bro. At minimum, Ace is activating, giving Luffy 30% charge time. He'll activate his special at least 1 time in the quest before he dies. And then he dies, he activates this again, bro. How much damage is he doing? What in the world? Let me know your thoughts. I mean, new Ace. He's just synergizing so well. Attack style and support style are being targeted by Luffy. Defense style, debuff, and recovery style be targeted by Ace. And the support is being provided so early on, so much charge time, so much tankiness. And then we don't even talk about versus Zoro. We don't even talk about versus Zoro, bro. Oh my days. We all know how crazy the shield is and all the tankiness and damage that versus Zoro provides. Dex free spirit and strike. Bro, I cannot speak. I'm just stunned by these units, bro. At the end of the day, it's just crazy. HP, defense, and speed up from Zoro versus Zoro. So this is the exact same effect that Ace is providing. So the tankiness and the speed that we're getting is so good. Our units will have very high priority in the queue of attacking order because of the level 12 speed from combined Zoro versus Zoro, speed level 6, and then also the new Rumble Ace level 6 speed. Level 6 attack up, destroy power tag crew members, so Luffy will be getting that as well. And then when Ethan Barrow v Nustro is on the team, enemy team, gives HP up and defense up buff to Destroy Pirate's crew members. So with Emu being so broken and making the 5 Elders team super meta, there's a very good chance that this will actually be activating. So very good. And the same tag requirement as Luffy for more Destroy Pirate crew members. This counts himself, so him and Luffy is already 2, so you only need 2 other Destroy Pirate members, which you can just put on the bench to fulfill that. And then he gives himself, of course, max special at the start of the quest when you have that tag requirement. And then a massive amount of charge time to himself. Level 5 shield up buff to Dex, Free Spread, and Destroy Pirate crew members for 25 seconds. 3.5x damage to 3 enemies. It's not ignoring defense. It's not spread damage. But it can do wonders. Like, I used to think this was pretty meh. But seeing it in battle, it's really crazy. Especially since he's activating so early before the enemy starts buffing their HP and giving defense. And then Provoke, counter stance to himself. I'm pretty sure this will stack with the new Luffy's counter stance as well. So yeah, counter stance might be the new meta with how much damage it'll be doing with normal attacks that the enemy does. Attack up and speed up to all crew members with counter. So Luffy's providing counter to everyone. So this Zoro, yeah, it's just so good, bro. I just can't fathom it enough. I can't stress it enough. This new trio of Ace versus Zoro and the Gear 5 Luffy, it's breathtaking, bro. Like, I can't believe it. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Luffy alone might not be the craziest, but when it comes to the new Ace and versus Zoro, this might be able to counter Emu. Like, I don't think it'll be completely reliable, but yeah, it's a very good chance that this will allow us to counter Emu. So I might have already retconned my previous video's title, but it is what it is. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Artwork's amazing, Rumble stuff is amazing, regular stuff not so impressive. Once again, massive multipliers. Both Emu and this Luffy will be great in Super Boss, but from what I'm seeing, besides that, they're not doing too much. As I said before, the full kits haven't been revealed. This is only like the highlights of the unit's abilities. So once we get the full info, I will go through these units again and try to analyze exactly what they are providing on the team. So I think when it comes to the regular abilities, they really do need to be reevaluated once the full abilities come out. I think the Rumble stuff, they're giving basically everything here that is important. So from Rumble perspective, I'm just in shock right now, man. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, and I'm out.